And Sara, how important is it to make children more involved when you're reading to them, saying, what's that word, or what colour is that sheep, those sort of things?
Yeah, look, it's really important because when you're reading to a child, what you're also doing is you're building their vocabulary. And building a rich vocabulary is it's one of those key skills. So there are 5 key skills involved in actually becoming a reader. And when children are young, they really can only rely on an oral vocabulary. It's quite limited. So once you are reading with them and you're showing them these beautiful picture books and rich text and new words, and you were saying, books that are out there, and these are really valuable skills that they learn, and they develops their language skills down the track as well.
Yeah, on that point, Fiona, is there a link between reading and their speech? Can you pick up perhaps if they're struggling at school with their reading from the way that their speech is developing?
Yeah, there's a lot of research that suggests that early language and speech difficulties are linked to literacy difficulties later on. So lots of children that come through for assessments for specific learning disorder, like reading or a literacy problem basically, like dyslexia, often have a history of speech and language difficulties. So it is important to get into early intervention and to get the right type of assistance as targeted and as early as possible.
And Sara, what are some of the things that you can do if your child is struggling with their reading once they've started school?
Okay, well obviously as a reading eggs advocate, we actually really focus on children's building up their knowledge, their reading, their vocabulary and all the skills that they need. So there are lots of things you can do, but you really need to make sure that they've got the steps in place. So I mentioned before phonological awareness. It's very hard to move on to the next stage of reading, which is phonics, if they haven't really mastered getting those sounds right and identifying the sounds. So, spending time with children on the rhyming and the playing is really important. Might not seem it, but it's a really important step before they move on to the more formal phonics instruction, and making sure that they do go through each of these 5 stages. So they do this with reading eggs in the sense that we do show them all the skills that they need in a really careful, structured way that just makes it easy, and they learn. They don't even realise they're learning.
Because it's fun.
Yeah,
they pick up the iPad and they think they're playing a game.
The really crucial thing is to not make it a chore, because you'll just turn them off. They need a lot of repetition, and motivation is key. You can't learn a new skill if you don't repeat, and if you get bored, you're not going to want to do it. So getting something that they like, that they enjoy, and if it's through all these fabulous books, whichever way works, it's taking away that chore and taking pressure off as well.
Reading eggs.